Make it work. Make it work. You on the block. Make it
All right.
grind. Make it
This
work.
is the Crew Show. I am Jay, and my crew is not here today. I got to send a special big up to my girl, that girl Olivia. She's under the weather today, so we want her to get well. This is Intellectual Radio, and again, this is Jay and the crew. We are talking today. We had a great topic today. I mean, phenomenal topic today. Um, this is Black History Month, which a lot of people, right, and what they want to talk about. I remember when I was little that we used to have so many projects like plays and speeches and things like that. But I want to talk to you guys today about, Black History Month is just 27 days, maybe days, and counting the leap year for this year, 28 days. I don't think we as Black American people should only celebrate in February because we have so much hair, so many things that we can learn. Our children need to learn like different things. Of course, we know about Martin Luther King, we know about Malcolm X, we know about Sojourner Truth, but we don't know about other things that happen in our American history. Black Americans have built America. America been built on so much corruption that if you look at your history books, that there are things in the books that things that are not in the books that should be there. Like there are so many pages to our Constitution and our amendments. There are so many pages that are not there that our children need to learn. I'm teaching my children. Our children need to learn their rights as U.S. citizens. So, what we gonna jump into this? We're gonna jump into this thing today. I have a book here called "Lies My Teacher Told Me." Everything your American history textbook got wrong. Okay. Um, I think that sometimes we get discouraged or we get over. Yeah, right. I think we get discouraged or sometimes we get overwhelmed with our history. But I'm telling you, when I was studying this thing, I overwhelmed myself. I was like, wow, I did certain things I didn't know. So we're gonna jump into this. First of all, let me tell you about my weekend before we do this. Let me tell you about my weekend. It was really, really good. I watched the Super Bowl and it I was my team won, of course. My team won, but I think about the Bears every time I watch quarterbacks. So I had a little sit down around with some guys at my house and had a little Super Bowl thing. We cooked, we did everything, and then I sat around my kids, talked to my kids, and the stuff that come out of our kids' mouth, the way they think, man, it's like, man, where did I go wrong? So I'm just like, man, and this weekend coming up, I don't know yet. Live is usually my hey now, hey now, hey now. This is what we got coming up this weekend, but I don't have that, so I don't know. But so Black History Month, we have everybody. I searched this. There was a man on Wall Street named Alexander Hamilton in the 1800s. I don't have it in front of me, but the 1800s. This man was a rich man on Wall Street. They call him the Prince of Darkness. The white America hated this guy. If you can look it up if you want, white America hated this guy. He would go to court. He would do things and then take the people to court, and he would win. I mean, I never knew that it was a black American male on Wall Street, wealthy. I'm talking about wealthy. He wasn't poor. He wasn't a slave. He wasn't none of that. I mean, look it up. I want you guys to look this thing up and let me know what you think. You can always call in 708-223-8953. And talk to me about this, man. Again, 708-223-8953. Man, it was astonishing the way that when I read this, I'm like, wow, they called this man the Prince of Darkness because they could not stand this guy. They didn't want to call him by name because he was a black American male. They wanted to like disassociate themselves. They wanted to degrade this man, because of the things that he did. Also, this topic I have today about the massacre of Black Wall Street. I think if you guys listen to my show all the time, you always hear me talk about building a Black Wall Street in Chicago, wherever I go, building a Black Wall Street is nothing against uh, Caucasians or Chinese or whatever other races are out there. But I think Black America needs to build their own Wall Street. I think we need more grocery stores. I think we need more banks. We need more clothing stores. You know, we have a black mall on 79th Street. I think it's 533, 79th Street. We have a black mall. We have things of that nature where we need to build in our communities. We need to show our children how to be financially stable, teach them how to buy houses, teach them how to sell, you know, to one another, teach them how to speak. Just because you speak intelligently don't mean you're a nerd. I always heard that growing up. Oh, he speak like he white. Why does he have to be white because he speak intelligently? That makes no sense. Um, also, let me stop saying I'm trying to think. So also we have um geez. Let's play the don't say game. All right. So also we have a person that I may bring on the show that does their own restaurants. We have a lot of black restaurants in Chicago that are black owned. And like I said, I have nothing against Caucasian, Japanese, Chinese, nothing Russian, whatever. But I am talking about my people. I am talking about what we need to do as black American people is build. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a break. And when I come back, I'm going to jump into this topic. This is Janet Crew on Intellectual Radio. We'll be right back.
Make it work. Make it work. Make it work. Make it work. You gon' fly. Make it work. You on the grind. Make it work. You on the climb. Make it work. No wasting time. Make it work. A couple grand. Make it work. A couple dollars. Make it work. Baby daddy. Make it work. Baby mama. Make it work. You on the fly. Make it work. You on the grind. Make it work. You on the fly. Make it work. No wasting time. Make it work. A couple grand. Make it work. A couple dollars. Make it work. Baby daddy. Make it work. Baby mama. Make it work. Now, this is a song that everybody's gonna feel. It don't matter if you chopping rocks or struggling for a meal. We all go through our problems. I know it can hurt. You gotta find a way to win and just try to make it work. You lay on red, make it work. They held your chair, make it work. And support took everything but your respect, make it work. You got them kids, make it work. Still live with mom, make it work. Got ramen noodles if they turn your food stamps on, make it work. You on the streets, make it work. You on parole, make it work. Caught in the system and just trying to make it home, make it work. You all alone, make it work. Family ain't. Make it work. Just keep on grinding and just make it work.
All right. We are back here on Jam Studio on Intellectual Radio. I am excited about this topic. You know what I'm saying? I wish my girl Liv was here. I mean, we would have so much to talk about. So, Black history. This is Black History Month, as we know, and we need to also celebrate those who came before us, who paved the way for us, and things like that. But I want to tell y'all about this. This is going to trip you guys out. Black History Month, the Black Wall Street, May 31st, 1921, and it lasted a whole day. A whole day, y'all, to June 1st of 1921. Also known as the Tulsa Race Massacre or the Greenwood Massacre or even the Black Wall Street Massacre, has been called the single most worst incident of racial violence in American history. The single worst incident of racial violence in American history. This was so bad, it destroyed 35 square blocks of the district at a time. The wealthiest black community in the United States, in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tulsa. We think nothing is in Tulsa, but when I researched this, I'm like, wow, I didn't know that they had a riot in Oklahoma, in Tulsa, and there were rich people, black, y'all, people in Tulsa that owned their own business, had homes, things like that. So the riot began over Memorial Day weekend, okay? After a 19-year-old Dick Rowland, a black shoe shiner, was accused of assaulting 17-year-old white elevator operator of the nearby Dexter building, okay? So A black young man of 19-year-old Dick Rowland, he was a shoe shiner, was accused of assaulting a 17-year-old white elevator operator in the Dexter building. Okay, he was taken into custody by local whites and was being held. And the news spread so fast. It's just like, guess what, y'all? Such and such happened. This happened. The news spread so fast that local whites gathered where he was being held, and rumors spread through the town that they were going to lynch this young man. And it alarmed the black population. Some of those people went to the courthouse. Okay? They went to the courthouse and thought they was going to lynch this young man. Okay? And they were armed. Like they were armed and ready for battle. Okay? Now, some of they like I said, they were armed with guns and things. Shots were fired. Okay? And 12 people were killed. 10 white and 2 black. They came armed, ready to get this young man out of jail because they thought it was unfair. They didn't think it was true. This young man, a shoe shiner, was uh was accused of touching this white woman of 17 years old. So at that time, I guess back then, 17-year-old men, I guess you were a grown woman back in those days because of the age factor and things like that. So the white rioters rampaged through the black neighborhood, y'all. They rampaged through this black neighborhood. Now, y'all remember when I was researching this, I was thinking about the Rodney King incident where they beat Rodney King. The police officers were said to have been acquitted of the crime, and then Watts and around the surrounding areas of Watts and things like that, where Black Americans stayed, were being torn up and burned down and everything. When they got close to Beverly Hills, those police officers stood their ground. You can't come through here. That's what made me think. This made me think about that. So the white rioters rampaged through the black neighborhood that night and morning, killing men and burning and looting stores and homes. And only around at noon the next day, the Oklahoma National Guard managed to get control of the situation by declaring martial law. After, after, I'm gonna say it again, after these people's homes, businesses, and everything were burned down, did the National Guard come in and stop these people and declare martial law. When the governor heard that this was happening, he should have declared martial law anyway. Because at that time, I guess it wasn't important. You know, I mean, it was important enough they were thriving, they were flourishing. These black Americans had their own businesses. They were doing everything that they could to flourish and have life and do things. Same thing that we're fighting for today. They had this. Probably like Bronzeville was back in the 40s and 50s. I don't know. Maybe it was white America, down there. But the way Bronzeville could be a black Wall Street. You have successful people that are buying those buildings. Well, right now I think it's gentrified. Bronzeville is more gentrified now than it could be. They're raising the rents and things like that. But the same thing, these guys declared martial law when they tore up this neighborhood. Okay. All right. About 10,000 blacks were left homeless and property damaged. Amount to more than 1.5 million in real estate and 750,000 in personal property. That's equivalent to $32.2 million today. So you're looking at back in 1920, these properties estimated $750,000. They were burned down, and the damage equivalent to $32.2 million worth of damage in this neighborhood. Businesses, homes, schools, lives being affected. 10,000 lives affected, homeless, property damage. 10,000. Okay? That is discouraging when you hear that. Matter of fact, I'm going to arrange a trip to go there. Just my own benefit to see history, okay? Because it was just like Hurricane Katrina. I went to New Orleans and I went down to the lower districts and things like that where, I wouldn't say poor, but the less fortunate or the people that the projects basically. I went down there and I saw the watermarks on the buildings, and I was in tears because you look at the watermarks on the buildings and you think, how could these people have survived this? Like when I got out the taxi cab in New Orleans, I looked up, I was like, oh my God, like you look the watermarks and you look where I was standing at that time. And how could the water be so high? How could they let the water be high? They said the water was coming in and was pulling the graves, the caskets out of the graves. That's how strong the water was. And then when I went over the bridge, I saw, but when I was on the bridge, I asked the taxi cab driver to stop on this bridge. And I thought about those people in New Orleans and those Black American people. And I'm sure that many other people were affected by Hurricane Katrina. But I'm just saying, as a Black American male, as I'm thinking about the pictures that I saw, when I got to the bridge, I thought about people sleeping because they couldn't get off the bridge because it was too much water on both sides of the bridge. They couldn't go through it. The water was too strong. I met a man in New Orleans who said he lost his wife. He was holding on to her. And the last word she told him was, take care of our children and our grandchildren. And she let go and he just saw her drift off into the night, into the water. So things like that, when I think about things like that, I know it's not Black history, but it is Black history. It's our history. It's our neighborhood. It's our community that is being destroyed, for lack of better words, because a lack of people making better choices. Okay. So getting back to this, the riot was largely omitted from local, state, and national histories. The Tulsa race riot of 1921 was rarely mentioned in history books, classrooms, or even in private. Blacks and whites alike grew into middle age unaware of what had to be taking place. So this is what I'm trying to bring to the light. Things happen back in our history that we don't know about because they have taken it out of our history books. And it's sad that we have to go and dig and research these things. And it's a shame that you have some children that don't want to read books because they don't want to, they're lazy and they don't know. So I'm letting you know this. If you want to call in on this topic, 708-223-8953. Please, if you want to chime in on this is Black History Month. This is a Black history topic. I'm not trying to go and push out any other races. Right now, this is what it is. This is what it is right now. This is where we need to stand. This is what we need to stand for. And on that note, I'm going to take a break. And when we come back, I'm going to finish up about the Tulsa race riot. This is Jenna Crew on IntellectualRadio.com. I will be back.
I know it's not easy being a man, but I believe in you. Just do the best that you can. See, I know it ain't easy being a man. I believe that you will stay the good man you are. Oh, you're a good man. You're a good man, yeah. You're a good man. Honey, you know you are. Baby, yeah. Oh, you're a good man. You're a good man. Oh, yeah. You're a good man. I believe in you. To stay the good man you are. There is nothing from you that I can't get. You've been working over 40 years and still haven't retired yet. I know you work hard every day. Even after you work hours, to get on your knees and pray. You're a good man. You're a good man. Honey, you know. Honey, you know you are. You know you're a good man. Oh, you're a good man. You're a good man. Take good care of the family. You're a good man. Just stay the good man you are. Stay the good man. No. You're understanding. He's a good and a friend. Hard working, faithful, true. You're a good man. Stay the good man. Stay the good man. Stay the good man. Whatever you want, baby, I'm gonna give it to you. Stay the good man.
All right. We are back here on IntellectualRadio-Com. If you want to on our topic on the Tulsa race riot, number 708-223-8953. I am Jay. I'm waiting for your call. So let's get back to it. So again, before I left, I told you the riot was largely omitted from local, state, and national history books. The Tulsa race riot of 1921 was rarely mentioned in history books, classrooms, or even in private. So blacks and whites alike grew into middle age unaware of what had taken place. So this is what's disturbing to me. So the history books that we read are they're not telling us everything. Okay. Just like I found out, I was doing some research and I found out that it were more pages to the Declaration of Independence. I found out that it was more pages to the articles. Yeah, so you need to do your research. That was taken out. For it's just a lot. I researched a man named E.J. Michon, and he suggested that feeding students rosy tales of automatic uh, progress helps keep them passive. Okay, for it presents the future as a process over which they have no control. So one thing we need to do as Black Americans, we need to do our research, because one thing you don't want to happen is people to control your future. If you know better, you do better. You have to know that there is something in this for you. It's something that some people deserve reparation. Some groups deserve reparation. So getting back to this, in 1996, 75 years after the riot, a bipartisan group in the state legislature authorized formation of the Oklahoma Commission to study the Tulsa race riot of 1921. Okay, they studied it, but what did they do? So from my findings, they were going to give scholarships to those people that were affected by the riot. They were going to do a lot of things, but some things failed to come through. Um, I did another research. Herbert Butterfield said, it's a book that I have. So why is history taught like this? Why do we have teachers that are teaching our children the way that they are teaching? And it says, he said, I do not know if there is any other field of knowledge which suffers so badly as history from the sheer blind repetitions that occur year after year and from book to book. So every year, even now, we have this impeachment from Donald Trump. We'll never know what the real story is. Okay? We have religions that have ensnared and enslaved people because people want to be free and they want to believe in something. So they go and they join anything because they want to believe in something. And then they are told that if they give so much, or if they don't give so much, or if they live a certain way, then they'll be blessed. I fail to believe that. I fail to believe that Black Americans fall. They have fallen. Well, I'm not gonna fail to believe it, but I can't believe that people have fallen for the okie doke. I can't believe that we as Black Americans have all of this rich history, and yet we fall into snares of greedy pastors, greedy politicians, and we don't have and we have a voice. It's enough of us to have a voice, but we don't exercise our voice. We don't. So the state passed legislation. Getting back to the race riot of Tulsa, the state passed legislation to establish some scholarships for descendants. 300 they only did. 300 descendants of survivors. Encourage economic development of Greenwood. From what I understand, they have not built, and I'm gonna do some more research. They have not really built back the Black Wall Street that it once was um, in Greenwood. They need economic development in Greenwood and develop a memorial park in Tulsa to the riot victims. But they did that. They did resurrect and dedicate a park to that in 2010. But let's say this. Okay, we have a memorial. We have something that reminds us of what we've been through. That's great. But wouldn't you want reparation? Wouldn't you want something more than, hey, here's a piece of paper to say that we're sorry? You know, and I'm not saying it has to be money. Let my kids, because my kids are ancestors of these people, let them go to school at the University of Tulsa or the University of Oklahoma or places like that. Give them scholarships to offset that created and done our ancestors wrong. Give us that. Help us build the banks. Help us build our Black Wall Street back up to what it was. Let housing be built, affordable housing for those people that are, homeless or something like that. Let's do things and get names and build homeless shelters for those people. Because remind you, back in the days when they burned down the houses, it never said what happened to those people when they became homeless. That's just something. That's just something that I need to um to study. That's just something that I need to get right. So I have another one, Mark Farrow. There is no other country in the world where there is such a large gap between the sophisticated understanding of some professional historians and the basic education given by teachers. That's heartbreaking. Very heartbreaking because basically what he's saying is that the teachers basically don't know. They only know what they read. Because teachers now they don't study unless you're like a historian. They don't study Black history. They don't study things like this. I had to do some digging to do this. Matter of fact, it's a show that comes on the cable network called The Watchmen. When the one first came on, I believe it was the first episode. They had this, and this what got me so intrigued. I don't watch the show, unfortunately, but it got me so intrigued in this that I had to research this and see why these things happen and what caused these things to happen and what was the outcome and what are we doing now to prevent these things from happening again. I have another. Holt Reinhold and Winston Representative said, when you're publishing a book, if there's something that is controversial, it's better to take it out. Why? Controversy is, it creates a sense of urgency. Okay. When I see something controversial, I want to know why it's controversial. I want to know why these things are happening. Okay. Brooks Mather Kelly is a co-author of A History of the United States explaining who really wrote his last chapter. Said they hired somebody. I don't remember the man's name. That's what authors say when they are faced with the questions of where'd you get the information from. Okay. A veteran editor of high school history textbooks said what he has been faced with, they told him, here's $3,000 for a freelance writer. and our editorial staff will take it from there. They pick things up pretty quickly, and in a couple of days, they're up on the Civil War. Come on, man. Like, really? Nobody can write like that. Nobody can do those things like that. Nobody can just go in and get a textbook and say, hey, we're going to do it like this. Right? I'm telling you, folks, we have to study. We have to study that to show thyself approved. That's not just in our belief and what religion you're in. That's in life, period. You have to study. Like when you go to a job, you have to do this job. Let me study this job. When I go to school, when I go to college, this is the type of job I want. Let me study this. We have to study our history. We have to study where we come from. We have to study those things like that. We just can't go in and go out and say, okay, this is what it is and take our word for it. We have to wake up, black people. We have to wake up and be mindful of what we are going through as black Americans. All right. So I'm gonna take a break. When I come back, we're gonna finish this up. If you got any questions, give me a call 708-223-8953. I am Jay without my crew, and this is Intellectual Radio. Be back.
Times change and I rhyme like I climb cages, vibrant with my cadence, reminder my silence anguish. Take a whiff of the pine fragrance, my mind faded. They called and told me the side's vacant, I'm not playing. If they thinking that I'm jaded, really we ain't no different. Now we grew up on, they know my tongue tragic. I kill tracks, it's a crime of passion. Pen to pad, that's my rite of passage. Call it fatal attraction. Complaining from the back, but you won't make it happen. They were mistaken when they ever said my taste was average. A savage, wipe my mouth on tablecloth, I hate napkins. The lights flash and I'm center stage. Yeah. The lights flash and I'm center stage. Yo. Seeing these bright lights higher above. Point the light up so we light this in your mind. Lights higher above. 1,000 lights could brighten any single room, just let them shine. Lights higher above. Point the light up so we light up any darkness in your mind. Lights higher above. 1,000 lights could brighten any single room, just let them shine. Lights flash on center stage. I'm seeing the lights flash and I'm center stage. I'm seeing the lights flash and I'm center stage.
All right. This is Jay the Crew. I am here. Again, I'm Jay without my crew. I miss my crew, man. So I'm here. We're talking about the massacre in Tulsa in 1921. If you want to chime in on the subject, 708-223-8953. So we coming into the home stretch. So basically, I wanted to let you guys know that I do read a lot of books, and I study a lot, and I try to give you the information as I see it. And I am studying more and more. I want you guys to also look at, while we're on the air, try to look at the articles. If there are articles in the amendments that you need to study and see what happened when slaves were free. What did those people get out of freeing slaves? Why did they free slaves? What did Abraham Lincoln get out of freeing slaves? I mean, it's a lot of things. And I'm not bashing Abraham Lincoln, nor am I being disrespectful. I'm just saying we need to study those things. We need to know what reparations we get as Black American people, because there is something that we get. Like Indians, when they have a reservation, they get money for having their reservations. When people build on those reservations, those Indian tribes get money for that. When we need to build up our Black Wall Street again in Chicago and LA and New York and all over America. We need to build those things. We need to teach our children how to be successful and teach them in schools, in our school system. We have strikes here in Chicago where teachers want to get paid more, and I get it, because of the attitudes or what you have to face in America and our children nowadays. But we have to give our children hope and something to look forward to. When you're at home and there's nothing to look forward to at home, kids are going to come to school. They don't want to learn. So I encourage parents, when you're at home, teach your children how to read certain things. Teach them how to write checks. Teach them how to count money. Teach them how to do other things than twerk. You know what I'm saying? I seen a little girl today. I was driving, and she just popping it. I'm talking about she couldn't have been no more than 5. So that's what we teaching our children. That's something that sickens me. Your children know all the words to the rap song, but they don't know their rights as U.S. citizens. They know all the words to, they know all the cuss words, but they don't know their rights as Black American people. They don't know how to read or write or know their ABCs or their colors. So we need to stand up and we need to make a village again. It says it takes a village to raise a child. But how can a child be raised up in a village that's cracked out or torn up or not even educated to do certain things? So we need to get back on the grind. We need to help our children and do better. I'm not saying I'm perfect because there's some things that I could change and some things that I can do better within my household and everything like that. But I'm just reaching out and I'm trying to make a better me. So I want to help you make a better me and help you make a better you. So with that being said, I want to hit you with one more thing. We need peace. Don't be so focused on our what our government is doing right now because it's a mess. If we had a Black Wall Street, we can settle things on our own. We need to have a society where we can have a Black Wall Street that goes into the Congress. They're not affiliated with any party. They're not Republican or Democratic or Whig or whatever. It just needs to be a party that we can affiliate ourselves with and say, hey, this is what we want. These are our demands, and they have to meet our demands. So with that being said, I am Jay. Without my crew, Livia, thanks for tuning in. I'll be out. If y'all want to hit me up on my Instagram, Jason Weathersby. Hit me up on LinkedIn, Jason Weathersby. This is Jay and the Crew, Intellectual Radio. I'll see y'all next week.
Make it work, you on the grind. Make it work, you on the climb. Make it work, no wasting time. Make it work, a couple grand. Make it work, $1. Make it work.